There were two people I heard from today who helped influence my idea to make this video. One was my friend Laura, who told me that I needed to talk more about myself in some of these videos, and the other one was a comment on my Pokemon video that said, "Hey, you just said you weren't a gamer. Pokemon is not a game." Okay, Pokemon can be a game on the Game Boy, and I guess it can be a game on the card game, but Pokemon in and of itself is not a game. It is a conglomeration, entertainment, extravaganza explosion. This was a worldwide phenomenon, and if you are anywhere near my age, even if you didn't care for Pokemon, you have to agree that Pokemon was a big deal. And on the surface of the idea of Pokemon, I don't understand how it became such a rabid phenomenon. You're basically taking these creatures, these animals that you capture, you take them out of the wild, and then you essentially battle them with each other. You guys are really good friends, the Pokemon and you, but you send them into essentially dogfights with other Pokemon for money and progression of fame. That's a very incredibly watered down definition of what Pokemon is, but that's what it is. Now I could use that as a jumping point to talk about the theology of Pokemon and the understanding of why that's okay in that world and not okay in this world, and why it's okay for Pokemon to battle each other or why it's not okay, but Laura yelled at me to talk more about myself, so I'm just gonna talk about me and Pokemon. My first experience with Pokemon happened well before it became a phenomenon in the United States. It was a big deal over in China and Japan, and it was slowly coming over across to the Americas. And I remember my cousins who lived up in Connecticut really wanted to see if we had any Pokemon cards in the card shops nearby in my town in Ohio. And so my dad took us and we went to this card collector shop and we bought booster packs and starter decks and things, and he bought each of us one, but he told us that we weren't allowed to have it yet. But we didn't know what it was, so we didn't really care. But my cousins were super excited that they got Pokemon cards, because apparently in Connecticut at that time they were completely sold out everywhere. But you could get them in Ohio, so my dad bought them in Ohio, shipped them to Connecticut, and they were ecstatic. Flash forward a few months, my brother and sister and I started hearing about what Pokemon was and that it was a big deal, and we were like, "Hey Dad, you should take us to the store so we could go get some Pokemon cards." And he was like, "Ha! I already have them. There you go. Here are Pokemon cards that I bought for you before Ohio sold out, because I'm such a smart fella." My dad can be a pretty cool guy when he wants to be. So I started playing Pokemon. I played the card game. I didn't really know much about the TV show, but I learned how to play the card game. I was really bad at it. I was really bad at the Pokemon card game. I had no idea how to build a deck. I still probably don't. But it's like, it was a mixture of like all the different types of Pokemon and all the different energy cards and all the different sort of trainer card things and all the other stuff, the evolutions and everything. You had to think about all the stuff that you were going to put into this not very big deck, and that was it. You just had to hope that you were going to come across a card that would help you, and it seemed like every time I played somebody, they would like, oh, here's a card, I have enough stuff to, my Pikachu's into a Raichu, ha, and then Thunderbolt, you're gone, and my Pokemon would be gone, and it was sad. So I stopped playing competitively, and I started just amassing a gigantic collection of Pokemon cards, because that's what I do when I really like something, is I collect a lot of it. And so I started watching the show, I started playing the Game Boy game, and I was hooked. I was hooked on Pokemon, and so was everybody else, it seemed, and it was just this fantastic, wonderful thing. There was one time, though, that I remember that Toys R Us had this Pokemon tournament. They made such a big deal about it, they put it in the papers, they put it all over the place, and so my parents took Jim and I to play at this Pokemon tournament, and I had, like, I collected, so I had a lot of really, really hard to find rare cards. And so, being the young, cocky kid that I was, I took a bunch of my good cards and I put them in my deck, but I also brought my little binder of all the other cards so I could like show off and stuff. So we're back, like, in the back of the Toys R Us, because they had cleared out the employees area and they had all these kids just basically playing Pokemon with each other. And it was a really fun time until I realized someone had stolen my holographic Charizard. Let me repeat that. Some little brat stole my holographic Charizard. And so that was the very last time I ever went to a public Pokemon tournament. I was incredibly livid for however young I was. I just, holographic Charizard. Those things go for like so much money on eBay still. There are very few Pokemon cards that go for a lot of money, but a holo first edition Charizard, which was stolen from me, goes for a crazy amount of money. Still. It was stolen from me. The craze kind of died off and people started moving on to other stuff, but Pokemon still held a place in my heart. And then when I went to California last year on Venice Beach, I saw a lady selling this, which I had to buy immediately. This is a Fanta can, which was unraveled and cut into the shape of Pikachu. How amazing is that? This was actually in the background of one of my videos from like months ago, and somebody thought it was a zombie something or other. Nope, that's a Fanta can. But I can see how you were confused. And now in the past couple weeks, with me having internet, there have been so many people talking about, oh hey, all of Pokemon is on Netflix. So guess what I've been doing for the past couple weeks? I've been watching Pokemon. And I went home and got my Game Boy Color and got my Pokemon Yellow, and I've been playing Pokemon too. It's Pokepalooza all up in here. What up? Ever doing that again? Let me know in the comments down below, what are your views on Pokemon? Did you love it? Are you kind of mad about it now, or do you still love it? Or if you're way too young to have remembered the Pokemon extravaganza that the world seemed to go through, what was your big craze thing when you were a kid? What did every kid love when you were a kid? What was your Pokemon? Because for my generation, it was Pokemon. I mean, come on. If we're gonna be honest, even if you hated it, Pokemon was it was culturally defining, to say the least. But anyway, that's all for this video. You will see me tomorrow. Good night.